Welcome to the show. I'm Dub. I'm joined this morning by Martiall. Good morning, Martiall.
Good morning.
And I've also got Jordan here. Good morning, Jordan.
Morning, Dub.
Both are here from the Fort St. John Association for Community Living. Thank you so much for stopping by this morning. I always like to start these with a bit about what you do in case somebody's listening for the first time. They never heard of the Association for Community Living. What are you all about?
Well, we do a lot in the community, but I guess it's more of like why we do it. Why we exist is to help individuals with disabilities access the community and be included with the rest of everyone else that lives in the city, and just be a part of the city. So we provide supports to people living independently and helping them move from living in home with mom and dad to living out on their own, or we have homes that are staffed 24/7 for people that can't live on their own, and they can have more of some community access, and then we have community access programs where we have our day program, and people come in and then engage in life skills training and activities of that sort to then go out into the community and then seek out careers and live life as much as you and I do.
Would you say advocacy is sort of a part of what
Huge.
you do too, and sort of
Huge.
making sure that Fort St. John is a more accessible community and making sure that we work hard to make it more accessible for everybody, including some of the people you help?
100%. So we have some self-advocate coaching that we do where we help teach individuals how to verbalize the needs that they have, because historically that has been a challenge for a lot of people. And we help them access venues to do that. So like we're going to be speaking to city council here, I think later this week, and having some self-advocates come with us to help them voice what we need in the city for accessibility, and for the community center that we're working on. And in terms of self-advocacy as well, we've worked with the airport. Bailey's Helicopter recently as well has reached out to us to ask us to come in and with our self-advocates and identify what they can do to make their spaces more inclusive. So definitely it's a huge part.
If you don't mind me sort of saying, I mean, when I hear that, I sort of think immediately, say, like a wheelchair ramp or making sure that it's easier to get up on a sidewalk, for example, right? What else does that also mean? Like, I mean, that's not just what this is about. It's maybe people who have physical disabilities who make it, a bit harder than regularly able people to get around. But it's about more than that too, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think that's what most people think of right off the bat. But I think Martiall, you could answer that question a lot better than me.
100%. When people think about accessibility, they think, oh, well, there's a wheelchair ramp, and a wheelchair can get into our office. Great, we're accessible. But it's about creating a space where an individual with a disability, whether it be an intellectual disability or a physical disability, can feel as included in the environment as any other person that walks into that building. So it could be in some cases, it's where does an individual go when they're overstimulated by all the sensory processing that they have to do in this space. The airport was a perfect example. When we went on that tour with them, they were really engaged with making sure that not only is the space accessible for individuals who are in chairs or walkers or whatever the case may be, but also for individuals who might have invisible disabilities. So inclusivity and accessibility is far beyond, well, yes, somebody in a chair could get into our building. Yes, we have a wheelchair stall in our bathroom. It's thinking about those nuances that make it so that an individual living with that disability can be as independent and as included in that space as possible.
So I think also that sort of means, I guess, when an individual you're working with, let's find you a career, let's find you some gainful employment, working with that business to ensure that this person gets what they need from the space, from the, their coworkers, from management, and make it as you say, welcoming and as inclusive as possible. So there's a lot of training sort of others, I suppose, in a way as well, not just the people who are looking for the career or the employment, correct?
For sure. Like our careers program, they spend a lot of time, a lot of groundwork goes in terms of making sure that the position that the employer has is a good fit for the individual, and the individual is a good fit for the employer, and their needs. So it's very specialized and very catered to those needs. We have a really high success rate with our careers program. We have people who are working for the city, working for companies like M&P, all over, and they're always raving about how well they fit in. So it works really well.
I wanted to take a minute to talk a bit about the history, and I know we were talking on the phone. We could spend hours talking about the history of the Fort St. John Association for Community Living. Let's keep it to a few minutes if we can. Tell us a bit about it. I know neither of you were there at the start, because this association has actually existed for quite some time.
Yeah, 1963, I believe, when it was started here in Fort St. John. It's about the same age as our building that we have on 100th. So that if you want to see that, you drive by and have a peek at it. It looks about the same as it did then.
Probably, yeah.
But no, it was started with the closure of institutional care facilities where people were segregated from community and were not able to live self-directed lives. We were created so that we could create opportunities for people to live self-directed lives in the community and pursue what they want to pursue and live the way that they would like to live. And we support them through that. That's since the beginning to now, that's been our mission and why we were made. But it's grown quite a bit since 1963. It started out in a little portion of a building, and now we've expanded to, now we have our main community center that we operate out of, and we have 5 homes that are supported living, and then we have some apartments that people live in independently that we support, and then we have our independent living program where we work with people that just live in the community. So it's really grown. The need has grown with that, and we have not been able to keep pace with that need. So that's why we're trying to catch up.
We're going to talk about the capital fundraiser in just a second. Do you know offhand about how many people you're supporting in one way or another through the association?
So there are currently about 115 individuals that we support through the various programs, and whether that's community connections, they come into our space, learn some life skills, and then they go out into the community, or the home share program, or individuals living in our supported housing. It's about 115 people, which is significantly larger than we're able to support fully currently, which leads us to the capital fund.
You're doing a big fundraiser too.
Yes, sir.
And you told me yesterday, so you'll have to remind me. Tell us a bit about exactly what kind of the goal of this fundraiser is.
Absolutely. So the goal of the fundraiser is to completely retrofit and renovate our current community center into a fully accessible and inclusive community center that is dedicated to programming space. So currently our building on 100th Ave, we're sharing that building with administration space, community connections, and it's just not meeting the needs anymore. So now the goal is to completely gut the building and take it from 3,000-ish square feet of usable space and turn it into 6,000 square feet of programming space, dedicated programming space.
I see. So administration would probably move out of there is kind of the idea. But this would just be for the people who need to use it and the employees interacting.
100%. It's really exciting. There's a lot of new spaces that we're incorporating into the space. So there's going to be a community cafe. There's going to be an art space, a commercial kitchen, a sensory room, a counseling room. And expanding this space doesn't only allow us to expand the number of individuals that we can support at any given time. It allows us to expand the services that we're able to provide as well. There have been times where an individual has come in to receive counseling, and Jordan's been kicked out of his office because that's the only space for them. But now we have a dedicated counseling space in the plan. So it's incredible to see that from 1960s, when it was, well, these individuals can't live in a institutional care facility anymore, to now being able to help them lead self-directed, fully engaged, fulfilling lives in the community in which they live is it's tremendous.
And part of the goal with this retrofit is so that we can also invite the community in as well.
Absolutely.
Because we've been really focused on getting people out into the community, getting them engaged in all the other activities that me and you would attend. And one of the goals with this cafe and the options that we have there in terms of the sensory room, there is allowing other people who may not be engaged in our services to come in and utilize that space as well. We want to be a place where we are creating community. So that's the goal.
I suppose the cafe, you could earn a little money that way too.
Well, it gives more career options for
Yeah.
people. Is the main priority for it. It's so that we can help people have entry level positions before they go out and work with other employers.
This is incredible. What an incredible plan you've got. What do you need? What kind of what are you looking for from people, sponsors, anyone who's listening right now who
Yeah.
thinks they can help out in some way?
Absolutely. There are a number of ways you can support the association. First and foremost, a way that almost anybody can support the association is become a member. It's an annual membership. What that gives you is a voice on directing our association and shaping the future of our association. That's $10 a year, and that is one of the smallest yet most impactful ways that any individual could support us. For the capital campaign, we have a very, very in-depth campaign planned, right from a major sponsor wall, starting at $500 for a bronze sponsorship, going up to $10,000 plus for a platinum sponsor. If you're a business that thinks they want to get behind the organization and sponsor a room, any of those spaces that I just named are available for the room naming rights. So any individual that wants to support, become a member. Any business that wants to support, get a hold of me. We can talk about sponsorship packages. And also just supporting our events throughout the year. We have Of the Vine coming up in October, and that is it is the biggest fundraiser that we do independently. We have a lot of community partners that support us, and we are the beneficiary of their efforts. But Of the Vine is our biggest self-led fundraiser, and that is a perfect opportunity not only to consider sponsoring the association's events, but also attending them and having a great time while doing good in the community.
Amazing.
Yeah, and just to kind of jump off that a little bit is for people that don't know, we didn't say we're a nonprofit organization. We are funded by the government for providing this care and support in the community, and that's primarily where most of our funding comes from our operations. Our fundraising dollars go directly to things that are going to benefit individuals that we support, whether that be towards creating housing options for people or career options, or towards the facility that we have for them to access. So
all right. Well, if someone's listening now, they want to help out in that way. They know someone who might be able to use some of the services you offer. They want to use some of the services you offer. What should they do? What's the best way to kind of get in touch and start interacting with you?
Give us a call. We check out our website or message us on social media. Come down to the office and ask your questions. Our receptionist, Julia, is a ray of sunshine. So if you need your day brightened up, you can come in and chat with Julia, and she'll direct you to who you need to talk to for whatever you need.
Awesome. And what kind of days and hours are you open if somebody just wants to stop by and phone or get in touch?
So our office hours are regularly 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday. That said, if you contact us through social media on the website, we're very responsive, and there's very little wait time in terms of getting a response. So in person, 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday, via the World Wide Web, virtually anytime.
Gotcha. All right. And I know you've got a pretty active Facebook page as well, so you can make sure you follow them on Facebook. Both of you, thank you so much for coming by and talking to us today. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Seb.
Join us next Thursday for the next edition of Vocal for Local, brought to you by the Fort St. John Co-op. If you have a small business and would like to be featured for free, call us at 787-7100 or email reception@moosefm.ca.